Hello everyone and everyone adjacent objects that so often go unacknowledged, and happy anniversary to me. Yeah, that's right, as of this video's posting, it has been 1 whole year since I first put up a video on this channel, and it has been a ride. So I thought it'd be fun to sort of put this year in a neat little package and plop this video on top of it like a big sparkly bow. I figured the best way to tackle this is just to address many of the questions I've gotten over the year. We'll talk about things in retrospect, and most pressingly, what's next? So, hey everyone, I'm 2C Phoenix. Don't ask where the name came from. I came up with it in middle school and it just kinda stuck. But that brings us nicely to our first question. How'd you get into YouTube? YouTube has been around most of my life, but outside the literal most popular videos out there, you know, Charlie bit my finger, mysterious ticking noise, that sort of thing, nothing about it was really on my radar until about 2010, when I got my first iPod Touch. Don't laugh. And I started looking up some of my favorite games on YouTube to see if there were any fun videos about them. The top results were usually these things, you might have heard of them, called Let's Plays. And without even clicking on them, you could tell what they were about. And my immediate reaction was, why would I want to watch some random dude on the internet just playing some game that I could play for myself? But eventually, after seeing how many there were, I clicked on one, just to try it, and I adored it. Almost immediately, I started pretending I was a Let's Player when I played games on my own time, commentating as I was going, reading the dialogue aloud in silly voices, you know, weirdo stuff like that. But then you might wonder why it took 14 years from there to actually put anything on YouTube. Well, it didn't.
Hello everybody, CC Phoenix, and welcome to my new Let's Play of Sly Cooper and the Thievius Raccoonus. I totally just skipped that.
Yeah, it was very clear to me immediately that I was not creating up to the standards that I was imagining for myself, and quickly got discouraged, figuring I'd try again when I got better hardware, better software, a more confident and, well, deeper speaking voice, etc. Here's the thing. Any creator will give you the same advice. Your first project, whether it be a video, a book, a drawing, an animation, whatever, it's not going to be your best work. It may not even be something you're proud of, but there is no better way at improving than to keep at it and learn from what doesn't work. So me being dissatisfied with my first videos was always going to be the case. But unfortunately, I wasn't really at the stage in my life where I could accept my own shortcomings and actively work on improving. So I let things lie dormant for years and years, until my own sense of perfectionism had sort of taken over my personal life, manifesting in a refusal to do anything that I didn't think I could do exceptionally well. This is a really stupid mindset. Don't do anything, even if it's something you want to do, because you haven't had enough practice at doing it. Like, you really can't see the problem with that? It wasn't until just last year that I finally ended up tackling that. I started pushing myself out of my comfort zone and doing things to focus on the fun of it, not the being good at it part. Which meant finally getting back on that YouTube horse. Sly Cooper being the first game I covered was always the plan. It's a game I hold incredibly close to my heart, and I know it so well I could probably play it blindfolded. But the challenge really wasn't to do with how well I played, or how knowledgeable I was, or how interesting my commentary was. It was just to do it and enjoy myself, and push it out there without listening to that side of my brain that says, hey, it could be better. Of course it could be better. Only a year on and there was already so much I would have done differently. But if I had let that be a priority, I'd still be where I was a year ago. And while I'm not entirely proud of any of it, I am extremely satisfied with what it represents. That being my own learning process. I think, watching it back now, there is a noticeable improvement with every episode, as I steadily learned new tricks and picked up on flaws I could phase out of the process. And as it went along, I discovered something I very much did not expect to. I have a serious passion for editing. I could spend multiple hours working on a video in post and the time would just evaporate. It was like playing a game unto itself, and that made it fun to experiment, to be ambitious, to learn. And when Sly Cooper was done, I was feeling very capable, and decided to try my hand at something a little meatier. Early on into recording Sly Cooper, I made a list of every game I either know enough or care enough about that I would feel comfortable making videos on, and let me tell you, it's a long list. You guys are never getting rid of me. Importantly, I arranged this list in order of how long, complex, and difficult I predict each project might be, and Hollow Knight is way up here. I anticipated it'd be about 50% longer than Sly. Yeah, I vastly underestimated this game, which I really shouldn't have, because it's one of my favorites. I've gotten a fair few questions about how I got into Hollow Knight and my initial experiences with it. I first played it in 2017, not long after it came out, and largely because a friend of mine was being kinda gatekeepy about its difficulty, and I wanted to prove him wrong. But honestly, I didn't really sink my teeth into it until it came out on the Switch, and I could play it while traveling. In my original playthrough, I remember beating the Hollow Knight after probably about 14 hours and going, ah, okay. And then I went back to playing Breath of the Wild. I wasn't unimpressed by any stretch, but I think it was the DLC and especially Godhome that really pulled the game into my list of all-time favorites. Regardless, I definitely had a lot of fun tackling Hollow Knight as a more, shall we say, sophisticated LP. Unlike Sly, I was now teaching myself my way through a photo editor so I could utilize assets from the game itself, making enemy bios and thumbnails to a much higher standard than before. Still, as time went on, I continued to vastly underestimate my workload, and those of you who have been sticking around since the early days may remember a pretty significant 3-month gap in my upload schedule, between episodes 11 and 12. This was due to a fair number of reasons, but the main one was that I was going from a part-time job to a full-time job for the first time since COVID, and I had to basically relearn how to manage my free time. And ultimately, I just had to come to terms with the fact that I wouldn't reasonably be able to upload as many videos a week as I wanted to. An unfortunate reality of being a part-time YouTuber. Before we move on, I've gotten a few more questions I can quickly snap through. Favorite Hollow Knight song? Oh, it's gotta be the Mantis Lords. I'm a sucker for a harpsichord to begin with, but I also associate it with one of my favorite bosses in any game, so really just unfair advantage. Though City of Tears is darn near close to musical perfection. Favorite NPC?
Oh, bury the night with her broken nail. Bury the lady lovely and pale. Bury the priest in his tattered gown. Then bury the beggar with his shining crown.
By the way, huge thanks to my sister for lending her voice to the role of Mila in the playthrough. Really helped bring her to life. My pronouns: he, him, they, them. I really don't mind she if you're so inclined. Let's just say I'm very pro-pronouns. What's my social security number? Psh, that's easy. That's, yeah, where'd I... Hang on. Uh-oh.
Really? What's your social security number? 5. Thanks. You're missing just a couple of digits.
The other
there.
8.
Oh, here's a big one. Any plans for Silksong? Yeah, there's no question I will be playing it to death on its eventual release. And I have every intention of making many videos on it, including boss blitzes of what are sure to be some grueling fights. But of course, that won't be for a long while. Okay, so how satisfied am I with the Hollow Knight LP on the whole? Again, very pleased. I think my biggest takeaway in retrospect is that the whole thing is a little slow. But wow, there was a lot to cover, and I am very confident in presenting it as a comprehensive guide for anyone who wants to 100% complete that game. And then there's that video. How to beat Hollow Knight in 5 hours. What you've got to understand is that the response I got to that video was, to me, completely unprecedented. I'm not going to pretend I didn't work extremely hard on it, or even that I don't think it deserves the spotlight it got, but its absolute runaway success put me in quite a conundrum. It felt like a very clear message sent to me. This is more the kind of video you should be making. And yet, as fun as it was to make, and as many videos similar to it as I could imagine myself making, it's far from the sort of thing I primarily want to make. The biggest problem is that many of the games I want to share on this channel aren't exactly relevant. You haven't got a whole lot of people clamoring to know how to beat a boss in a 20-year-old PS2 game. And while I undeniably enjoy answering questions that no one is asking, I don't want that to be the core of most of my videos. So the big question, what's next? Do I stay the course, make Let's Plays, make an occasional guide video that blows all my other ones out of the water? I don't think so. It would be blind of me to take all the experiences I have and learn nothing from them. It's time for a change, but exactly what sort? That took some thinking. I decided to pull myself back to the drawing board and write out exactly what I want my videos to accomplish. First and foremost, I want my videos to be helpful. I want people to be able to use them as a guide, or as a companion to play through the game with. This, to me, has always been one of the best things about Let's Plays, that I can have a personality I enjoy guide me through the tricky bits of tough games, whether that be overcoming a challenging boss or finding a slew of well-hidden collectibles. And, more importantly, I really enjoy breaking things down and showing people how they're constructed. I like making complicated things approachable. Next, I want my videos to be comprehensive. I want people who have never played the game before or have no way to play it themselves to be able to experience it vicariously by watching my videos. I want them to get the whole story of the game, and I don't want them to miss out on any unique aspects of the gameplay. On the opposite side of the coin, I want people who have played the game just as much as I have to be able to experience it in a new way. I want to teach seasoned players new things about their old favorites, whether that be fun facts about the game's development or marketing, or cool details about the game's subtext or theming. And finally, but certainly not leastly, I want my videos to be entertaining, well-paced, and fun to watch. I want people who have neither played nor cared about the game I'm playing to still get something out of it. Most simply, I want to make people smile, I want to make people laugh. Now in terms of what accomplishes all three of these, Let's Plays are functional, or at least they can be. However, to my mind, they are essentially the most rudimentary way to go about this. A caveman could have come up with it. Play game. Talk over game. Bam, a billion videos right there, and yet, I have to wonder if there's not a better way. It's no mystery that much of the audience for Let's Plays prefer to watch streamers on platforms like Twitch, providing much the same experience, but with an added element of interactivity, what with it being live. And while I can definitely see myself streaming in the future, I am more interested in creating something a little more catered, planned out, and well edited. I imagine something like a Let's Play, only more focused. I want to refine the Let's Play formula down to its strengths, and build something new, leaving behind what doesn't work. And so I would like to announce Game Breakdown. This is the new format in which I'll be tackling the bulk of my videos. The goal is, admittedly, simple. Hit upon every aspect of a game that I want to talk about or show. There it is, that simple. If it's a story cutscene or conversation, it gets shown. If it's a cool detail in the world or dialogue, I'll point it out. If it's a tough challenge, I'll break it down. If it's a collectible, I'll show where to find it. If there's relevant trivia to what's happening in the game, I'll share it, and so on. All cut together into a quickfire compilation, punctuated by my own commentary and observations. If it's a part of the game that plays itself, something self-explanatory, something repetitive, or more to the point, is not worth talking about, it hits the cutting room floor. Or perhaps gets sped up. I'll be able to cover entire levels or chapters of a game in the same amount of time as a single episode of a Let's Play. So even if I upload one video a week, I'll still be getting through the game at about the same pace. And yet, all within a more approachable upload schedule. I honestly don't know if what exactly I'm picturing here has been done before. It's the internet, so likely it has, or at least something that fits the description exists, but I really hope Game Breakdown can be a breath of fresh air. I have never been more excited to make something as I am right now. I hope you'll all bear with me as the channel enters what is sure to be a period of experimentation. For our first guinea pig, I'll be tackling a game that is thoroughly within my comfort zone, so I can more or less control the variables here. Sly 2. If you've played this game, you know it's something special. But more importantly, I can't think of any game more fitting to bear the weight of this ambitious new format. The first Sly showed great potential, was working from a proven foundation, and stuck the landing perhaps as well as anyone on the team could have hoped. But so much of its identity is owed to the trite conventions drawn on by most 3D platformers of its era. Lacking a certain wow factor, it didn't capture the attention of audiences who were already used to stronger showings. Sly 2, on the other hand, took a much more confident and unique approach, doubling down on everything that made the first game stand out, and leaving behind the things that were only there because of its genre. But no doubt we'll have plenty of time to discuss that all at length when we break it down. See you then.